Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters, from anime, series, or movies, such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86 and today I have a special collaboration between Transformers and Knight Rider. I present to you Agent Knight. He comes to us as an Autobot, so this is basically a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Looking at the side of the box, you see Agent Knight both in his vehicle and robot forms. And this is celebrating 40 years of Transformers. Looking at the back side of the box, you basically see a cartoon depiction of the Autobots fighting. Then towards the bottom, you basically see the Autobot Agent Knight details, basically telling you what the specialties are. Then it gives you a quick summary of the character. I'm really excited for this one because, as you know, I really like the special collaborations, especially the Transformer ones. If you recall, a while back we did a collaboration between Transformers and Jurassic Park, and those figures were really amazing. And there you had the Jeep and the Tyrannosaurus Rex transforming. It appears that he has some talking features and it requires some batteries. Agent Knight comes in one blister pack, so here you can see the Autobot in his vehicle form, which is basically the Firebird Trans Am KITT car. Then flipping it on its backside, wrapped in the Autobot logo, are the two weapons. Now here's a quick pass of the instructions. Here you can see it's Agent Knight, and it shows you that this is the special collaboration between Knight Rider and Transformers. Jumping into the second section, it tells you need three 1.5 batteries. So the three batteries go on the bottom of the vehicle. So you need a screwdriver to take off the bottom plate, put the batteries in, and then screw it back in there. Then it shows you where the button is in the front of the hood to activate the lights as well as the catchphrases. Then it tells you about the two weapons, on where to store them. It also shows you how to use the pop-up headlamps. That was the one thing that I loved about vehicles from the late 80s, early 90s. Now here's the overview of the instructions. So you start out in the vehicle mode, then you start converting it by taking out the arms out, taking out the doors. Then you keep moving along. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. So this basically has a lot more steps than I was led to believe by looking at the top of the box that I showed you earlier. I thought it was going to be like maybe 3-5 steps and you were done, but this actually has 22 steps. Follow me on IG at Titan del 86. And we'll see how this goes when it's my turn to try it. But ultimately at the end, this is what you get. Then in the last section, it tells you about the weapons, where to put them. Then it also shows you where to store them when you're not using the weapons. And then it appears that he comes with a communicating bracelet. And that is it for the instructions. Then it also comes with another warning sheet. Again, it comes with a bigger one that also has some more warnings on it. And it comes in many languages. So there you have it. So here's the 360 of Agent Knight straight out of the box, which was a 1982 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am known as KITT. Towards the front splitter, you can see the Autobot logo, which is pretty cool. One thing that I was expecting was to have a more shinier, glossier look, but here with the light, hopefully that can capture some of the angles on the vehicle. You can see that some of it has like a rough surface, so maybe kind of like scuff marks and stuff here and there. So one thing that this vehicle really needs is a good polishing. Plus we gotta apply some of the cleaning kit to make it nice and glossy, typical to what you would see in a showroom vehicle, which this one is obviously lacking. Honestly, I was expecting the tires to be made out of rubber, but they're actually made out of hard plastic. And in case you was wondering, yes, they do spin freely. But the car does look sweet, and honestly, one hint about me is I always wanted to have a Pontiac Firebird, and to me Firebirds are really cool. Too bad that they stopped making them, especially the WS6. If you guys are into cars and know what those are. But honestly, the Firebirds, they're all nice from the start to the end. It just sucks that they are no longer being produced. But here, I mean, it's capturing the likeness of the car. It looks pretty accurate actually. Let me know in the comments with your thoughts. So now that I put the batteries on, now you can see the strobing LED light. So Agent Knight seems to have 6 catchphrases, so let me go through them all with you so you can check them out.
Hold on, this could be a bit bumpy. So you're sure this is the right way? Very well. Thank you, sir. I am the voice of Knight Industry 2000's microprocessor, K.I.T.T. for easy reference. KITT if you prefer.
So probably after 2 minutes of an activity, it shuts off with a special phrase.
KITT signing off.
And then to reactivate it, all you have to do is just push the button again. So when you power it on, it does a catchphrase, and then when it times out to shut down, it does another one. So when you count all of them together, you have 8 total. Then it will cycle through the 6 regular catchphrases every time you push the button, and then once it times out, it will do the final catchphrase. And it won't do the first one until it turns back on. And honestly, listening to the catchphrases, to me it makes more sense to use them while he is in the vehicle mode, because that is basically KITT's voice, for those of you that remember the show. So that is one thing that I like that they did here. Here's a view so you can see it with the doors open and the strobing light. Now with the doors open, you can see the inside of the transformer, where you can see the arms and the fist, and you can also see where the weapons are. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. One thing that I found out is when you long press the button, it basically just has the LED strobing, kind of like what you see here, versus just saying the catchphrases. So that is something cool that they did give us that option. They just didn't really make it obvious in the instructions. And also, as you can see, it appears that it does take some time, but the strobing light also shuts off by itself. I'm not sure how much battery life you're going to get out of it from continuous usage, but again, I think that depends on the type of battery that you're using. Now for this one, we're going to do it with the lights off, just so you can see how bright those LEDs are. This is almost in complete darkness. This thing is a fingerprint magnet. Follow me on IG at Titan86. In case you haven't checked that out, I did do a review of a collaboration between Transformers and Jurassic Park. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. That one was another collaboration that I liked, where in that one you had the Jeep and the T-Rex converted into a Decepticon and an Autobot. Which is something that I love about Transformers, is that now you can take anything and turn it into a Transformer. So this is the 360 with the strobing light on, as well as the headlamps and the on position. Which is something that I really like from vehicles from the late 80s, early 90s, was a special feature that they added, where once you wanted the lamps to be on, they would basically either they will roll up or they will pop up, kind of like what you see here. And I know the most noticeable cars that always did that were the Porsches did some of them. I think some of the Ferraris, the Lambos did them. But the most iconic ones to me were basically the Pontiac vehicles, along with the Corvettes. And I think we also had some of the Japanese cars that did them too. And I know now they kinda got away with them, because most of the problems that they had were the motors would go bad, so then the lamp wouldn't work, or it would get stuck and wouldn't be turned on, and it wouldn't pop the lamp on. So I think out of safety concerns, they basically did away with them, plus with the technology that came with the time. To me, it was a very cool feature that vehicles used to have back then. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on that. Then if you look towards the glass, hopefully the camera can capture it, you can see the guts of the robot. So I really like the looks of the Transformer. It's not too over the top. I would have just loved to have a more smoother, glossier finishing, but that's obviously the way they did the plastic. but the details are very good. You see how the roof of the car has a different paint job than the rest of the vehicle? So the paint job used on the roof and the rims is the same with the glossy black, but the rest of the vehicle doesn't have that. So it would have been a lot better if they would have used the same glossy paint on the rest of the vehicle. Finally, I present to you the 360 of Agent Knight in its Autobot form. He looks really cool and amazing. I really like all the details that he has. Here I turned on the strobing light just to make him look even more badass. Here he has one simple expression, which is a neutral one, going towards around the back, and behind the doors is where you can attach the weapons. As far as the windshield goes, it didn't really give me a good section of where to attach it back or snap it back, so this is where I put it. But overall, he looks really amazing. I like the details. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. As far as the transformation goes, I'll give it a 6 out of 10 on the difficulty level, just because there were some sections that you really had to figure out. For example, getting lost on pulling the legs out of the main body, and the other section was getting the head through the hood. On that one, it wasn't clear that you had to snap the portion that comes in from where the bump of the hood is to attach it, which becomes the dominoes on the robot. So there it took me a little bit. And then the other part is it doesn't really give you a defined attachment point for the windshield glass, but other than that, he looks really amazing. I really like the figure, and he also has some really good details. One thing I would have liked to have seen on this figure would have been the fog lamps and the headlamps to also light up as well, along with the strobing light. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. The wheels still spin freely except for the ones that are by the shoulders. Those, depending on the orientation of the arms, may or may not spin because they'll make contact with the fenders. Here's a quick overview just so you can see what articulation points you're getting with Agent Knight once he is in his robot form. So he's got good head rotation, he can look up, this is as high as he does that, and then he can barely look down, but again, because of how wide the hood is and all that, it doesn't really make sense. Like, just to mention again, the headlamps go on and off. I'm going to turn the strobing light on because it's really cool. So for the strobing light, you just press down it and then it turns on. So we'll do that for the rest of the video just because it looks amazing. So you get 360 of the arm, just be mindful of the wing or whatever that you want to call the doors there. It does move a little bit, but not a whole lot. So this is as far as the arms can go. Center, he's not really going to be able to do much, but obviously he can if you use those articulating points. He's got good rotation on the bicep, if I can show you that. He's got 360 there. The elbow's there. The wrist can go in and out, and you get 360 out of it. There's no chest movement. The torso does rotate, as you can see. This is as high as the leg goes. This is as far back as it goes. You can do some really good splits. I'm not sure why, but this piece moves. I didn't really find a purpose for it. He's got good thigh rotation. Here's the knee, which is really good. This is for the ankles. This is as far as the ankles go. This is the toes. And then he does have inboard and not a whole lot of outboard, but the inboard is what's really going to help you in doing different action scene poses. Plus the up and down would assist you, but outboard you really don't have to do that. Overall the figure's pretty stable with that. For the doors, obviously you're able to swing them down and all that, but I think originally this is kind of like where it's supposed to be, so I don't really know if you're supposed to be moving those or not. once it's in the robot form, but in case you're curious, there you go. Overall, he has way more articulating points than I was expecting for a Transformer. There you have it. For this scene, Agent Knight has ran into some Decepticons, so he quickly drew his weapons and he's starting to fire back at them. So here I have him in a battle pose where he's shooting back. So on this one, I turned the headlamps so you can see what he will look like when they're on. And again, I got the strobing light. He comes with two weapons. One looks like an assault rifle, like an AK-47. Then the other one just looks like a regular blaster. There aren't too many details on the weaponry. So hopefully now you can also get a close-up shot of the communicator that is on the left wrist. That particular communicator didn't really go into the vehicle mode, so that's kind of like a loose piece. I'm really surprised by the articulations that are in this figure. He has really good articulating points, which I really like. The other thing to note is the weapons, if you want them, you can swap them out. So they're not limited to the particular arm like we've seen on other Transformers. And I really like that they did this special collaboration. I'm really a big fan of Transformers when they do collaborations with other figures. I know there's one up there with Naruto, so hopefully you will get to see that one later. And they have done another one with Ghostbusters, which looks really cool as well. I'm still on the fence whether to get that one or not. But this Knight Rider one, he looks really amazing. And we know this is basically Michael Knight. I wonder if David Hasselhoff has one, since this was basically his career from the early 90s, along with Baywatch obviously. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.